Thinking about those articles, though, I remember one in particular. It might have been the one that I didn't win any matches, but there's still an article about me. And the comments section, they were just going off about how I shouldn't be wrestling, how girls shouldn't be here, how it's not fair to let me wrestle. And I remember me personally, that like really hurt my feelings that all of these people had so much to say about why I shouldn't be there. Did you ever have any parents or anything come up to you and say anything?
No, actually, they would not dare say something like that to my face. They wouldn't. But I mean, I've heard, in the background, but the people I knew were very supportive and very good about it and understood and knew that you should be there because you were good.
Hey everybody, welcome back to the Wrestle Her podcast. I'm your host, Kari Brenton, and I am joined today by my mother, Kari. First things first, I would like to announce that I just got the head coaching position at Natrona County High School as the head girls coach, and I'm very excited about it. So I just wanted to share that news with you guys. Hi Mom, how are you doing today?
Doing great.
Good. So why don't you go ahead and say a little bit about yourself?
I am Kari Brenton. I have 7 kids, 6 boys, 1 girl. And I am an accountant and a mother of all wrestlers, basically. Every one of my kids wrestled and did all kinds of sports as well, but wrestling was big in our family, obviously.
So why did Briston start wrestling, my oldest brother?
We got him into it. He played baseball and we got him into hockey. And then we just decided that there was a team in Shepherd, Montana that at his school. And he just said, hey, I want to try to wrestle. And so we said, okay, let's do it. And just got him in it.
Awesome. So I didn't start till a little later after Briston started. He had wrestled a few years before me. So why did you let me wrestle?
First of all, you were in gymnastics and dance. I had you signed up to all the girly things, and I went and watched you and did all these things. And we would take you to Briston's practices, and you were like, I want to do that. And I was like, well, okay, well, I think that'd be okay. Me and your dad were both like, okay, that'd be fine. We'll get you in that, see what you can do. And, you with you playing and dancing and stuff, you were always off to your own self and always wanted to, you like danced on your own and weren't ever really a team dancer, I guess you'd call it. So it was actually good to put you in a sport that you were by yourself and could do your own thing. So it worked out really well.
Well, that's good. Were you disappointed that I wanted to wrestle instead of dance?
To an extent, just because I always dressed you in frilly, girly dresses and did your hair and stuff. And with you going to wrestle, it changed that. I didn't really dress you up into anything beautiful there, but always did your hair cute.
Yeah. I remember you always doing my hair, and those were the tightest braids I could ever have in my life. My scalp still hurts, I think, from you braiding my hair growing up.
Yeah, you had long hair always, so I always had to, you had to have it out of your face.
Yeah. I know Dad was super pumped. What was your initial reaction to me wanting to join wrestling? Were you immediately okay with it? Did you have some concerns with it? How did you feel about it?
Oh, at first it was fine. Everything was great. No, I thought I didn't really have any concerns about that at all. I think my concerns about you being a girl in wrestling was turned up more when you got into junior high and high school. So back when you started, when you were 5, it was no problem whatsoever. I wanted you to do what you wanted to do and you were happy. And I know that all you wanted to do was beat Briston. That's all you cared about. You were like, I'm going to wrestle and I'm going to beat Briston. I don't think you ever have to this day, but
I beat him in a race once. That's the only time I've ever beat him in any type of sport. So I'm going to still hold that victory over him for sure. He was kind of sick or something that day. So it win's a win.
I bet you he doesn't remember that.
Oh, he does. I remind him. Thinking about how you felt when I started wrestling, how is that different from when I got to junior high and high school? What were your feelings when I was wrestling then?
In junior high, you still dominated. You were right in there with everybody. And even in high school, you were dominating. You just had been developing so much and had to stay down at a smaller weight. And that was pretty stressful for you. And, you know, I didn't know all the rules of how to cut weight and how to, you know, maintain your weight. I mean, we ate whatever we wanted, but, you know, off season. And so it would have been way more healthy for me to have you, you know, have a good diet and just maintain that. But you guys were wrestlers and you didn't care when Thanksgiving came around, you were going to eat, dang it.
Yeah.
And that was that.
Yeah, we would run that, you know, extra couple miles if we needed to. We're going to have that mashed potatoes and gravy, dang it.
Yes, for sure.
I dealt with some struggles, as you know, growing up and going through the wrestling world as a girl in a boys' sport. So watching some of those struggles, how did that affect you, or did it affect you?
Actually, it affected me quite a bit. I would I would go and watch you wrestle, and I would be watching the brackets. You know, I always made sure I had the brackets, and I was, you know, making sure who you were wrestling, what you were doing. And right before, I'd always run to the bathroom and throw up because and then I'd just start shaking and be just so nervous about how. And the crazy part is you were always so calm and relaxed out there. Mm-hmm. You know, another thing is you, I think people didn't realize how much you had to go through to be a wrestler with all these boys. Because since you were the only girl, you know, in our high school and that kind of thing, and they made you wear a hairnet. They made you, you know, well, the boys actually had a lot of respect for you, I believe.
Yeah.
You know.
I think it was more of a gained respect. They didn't when I got there. And then I whooped up on everybody in the wrestling room. And I think that gave me respect.
Sure.
And then, you know, I started doing well at tournaments, and, you know, people would come along the mat, and the mat sides would be completely filled watching me wrestle. And I think people just knew who I was based off the fact that I wasn't just, you know, oh, that's a girl out there that's wrestling. Oh, this is going to be an easy match. Like, I was actually pretty good and could hold my own. So I think that that's something that I had to earn, which boys don't have to do that. They can just go in there and they're, you know, considered on the wrestling team and their family in there, and they don't have to really earn the respect of their coaches or,
for sure,
you know, their teammates or anybody. So that's something that I definitely had to do. I remember there was a big article in the news about me, all the time, actually.
Yes.
There was articles all the time about me. Even if I lost all of my matches, they would do a huge write-up in the paper. And I remember that made Briston so upset because he was actually very good. And
well, he was a senior and you were a freshman, and they would, he actually hadn't lost a match all year.
Yeah.
And you go to a tournament when there's 4 people in your bracket, and you took 4th, and, and there was this monster write-off. Jessica Brenton took 4th. Yeah. So when Briston actually finally, you know, he won state, 2 years in a row. And so when his senior year, when he was getting the glory, it's kind of funny because they'd come and they'd interview him, and he's like, oh yeah, they're finally going to interview me. And well, they would ask, well, so how do you feel about your sister? You know, so poor kid. But I think he was so proud though of you. So it was kind of nice. Yeah,
I definitely think that for sure. Thinking about those articles though, I remember one in particular that I won some tournament. It might have been the one that I didn't win any matches, but there's still an article about me. And the comments section in trib.com, they were just going off about how I shouldn't be wrestling, how girls shouldn't be here, how it's not fair to let me wrestle, so on and so forth. And I remember me personally, that like really hurt my feelings that all of these people had so much to say about why I shouldn't be there. Did you ever have any parents or anything come up to you and say anything?
No, actually, they would not dare say something like that to my face. They wouldn't. But, I mean, I've heard, in the background, but I think the people I knew were very supportive and very good about it and understood and knew that you should be there because you were good. I mean, you proved yourself, I felt. And so, it was the people that didn't have any idea who you were and stuff that would say these kinds of things. And so I feel like it was a good, positive thing. And I always kept it positive too and never worried about what anybody else was saying. I didn't realize that you were I would tell you not to read those but I always thought it fueled you too.
Yeah, I think to a certain point it did. But to get on there and there's, 50 comments from 50 different people about how I shouldn't be even included in the sport really kind of just hurt my feelings a lot. And I knew, I was a girl in a man's world, and I knew that there wasn't other girls and I didn't know any different. But it just hurt my feelings because I just wanted to wrestle, and I wasn't hurting anybody. I mean, intentionally, I wasn't hurting anybody. I'm sure I hurt a lot of egos, and I know that I made a lot of people cry, but I mean, I just wanted to wrestle. So I felt like it was kind of unfair for them to even allow those posts to be on publicly a newspaper like that.
My mentality was completely different, though. I always thought it was that you should be there and you were good, and I didn't care what the other people said because you were going to go prove to them that you were good.
Yeah.
You were going to prove yourself. So I don't put much to what people say about you or about our family, about whatever, because I know the truth.
Yeah.
So
awesome. Love it. So you said it was easier to watch me when I was younger, and then it got progressively a little bit harder. How was it watching me when I wrestled girls up in college?
So that was crazy. So I remember the first time we went to a national tournament, and it was just you and I, and you wrestled girls. And it was just, I could not believe it. I felt like it was so much easier for you. I felt like, you were just relaxed, and it was, I don't know, it just felt like it was, I think you took nationals that first time you went and wrestled.
Yeah.
And then you wrestled another time we went and did girls again. And I remember you had lost. I think you took third that year or something. And I was like, wow, that girl is really flipping good then, since she could beat Jessica, Mm-hmm. So, but even going in and watching you in college and stuff, the levels was crazy. I mean, I felt the same. I know that's not true. I did not feel the same. I threw up all the time when I watched you with boys. Mm-hmm. With girls, I felt more confident for some reason.
Yeah.
Just because you had gone through all the struggles of the boys.
Yeah.
Not putting past girls, because there were some girls that, in fact, are on the Olympic team that you wrestled that were so good.
My very first college match, actually, was a girl that was on the Canadian Olympic team.
Yes. So. I mean, I felt like it was a more level playing field.
Yeah.
Basically.
Yeah.
Is what it was.
I think you knew I had equal opportunity out there. Mm-hmm. And knew my skills.
I mean, there's some women that are just so super, super strong, but, the boys, they have man strength. Yeah. A lot of them do. Mm-hmm. And so I was always worried something was going to happen, like especially if you wrestled up a weight or whatever, and one of the boys had cut a ton, and
right.
Then that, they were way too strong, but you were so flexible from gymnastics and stuff, and you could bend, so it wasn't as nerve-wracking, I guess, as when wrestling girls than it is to wrestle boys.
Yeah.
For some reason.
Yeah. I mean, I personally felt more confident to wrestle girls, especially, going from wrestling in high school, wrestling boys. I was confident when I got on the mat, but I had to do my, ritual that I did, put my headphones on, listen to rap songs, get into my own world. And as soon as I got on the mat, it was go time. So I kind of just let it all go as soon as I stepped on the mat. But I feel like in college, I didn't have to cut weight and I just wrestled what I wrestled and I felt good instead of having to cut 20 pounds a week just to wrestle for 2 days and then starve myself for the rest of the week. Mm-hmm. So I felt like I was just healthier. And I don't know, do you think that you felt my confidence?
Oh, definitely.
With that?
I felt you were confident no matter what.
Yeah.
When you'd go out there, it was just cute. I remember when you were little and you would just go and sit. You would sit with your legs crossed, sit and wait for your match. And all the boys were across and jumping up and down and running around. And you would just look over at them and just watch them a little bit. And then when it was about time you'd get out there in your face, you would have your growly face on. And the boys would be looking at you like, oh, no. When you'd look like that. I mean, it was so confident. Your confidence level has always been pretty good, I felt.
Is there a favorite memory that you have of me in my wrestling days?
Well, that is one, just to see your face when when your growly little cute face.
Gur face?
Yeah, gur face, yes. When you would warm up, I mean, I just know you're in your zone because then you just sit there and you just rap and you're moving your hands and you're doing the whole rap song. You know every single word of everything. I just love that because I remember being at one of the high schools and I was looking down at you and you were just going. So I just knew that you had it and you were going to do good at that tournament because I could just see how focused you were and you would just get into your cute little, I just loved it. In fact, I filmed you quite a few times doing that because I thought it was so great. Yeah.
Yeah, I did that all the time. I had to get into my zone. I had to do something to get there. And everybody has everybody has something different that they do. And that's what I chose to do. It helped me get angry and helped me, I had to listen to songs that was directed towards the wrestler that I was wrestling, and I had to look at them and rap to them.
Yeah.
Jump around, and it just helped me get in the zone. And I think my favorite thing to do was that, and then if they would look at me and look concerned as I was rapping to them, then I knew I was going to win. Right. If they smiled at me or didn't look concerned, then that would piss me off. And so either way, it was beneficial. So I just needed to get in my zone and nobody talked to me for 3 songs at least.
Right.
And let me rap every single word and warm up and get out there. But I think that that definitely helped me get mentally prepared because it's definitely a mental game.
Very much so.
So was there ever a time that you could tell that I wasn't mentally prepared to go into a match?
Truthfully, you seemed to be prepared every single time, every match. There was the time that you got hurt. And I think that's the only time that...
Which time?
Well, when you got hurt at regionals and
my knee,
your knee popped out and you hurt yourself. I mean, you were hurt pretty bad. Mm-hmm. Finished the match anyway. Won the match.
No, I lost that match. That was against Neil Williams, and he was on my own wrestling team. And I was pinning him and lost by a point. So I was just mad that I lost the match because that was to go to state.
Right. And I was mad that you wouldn't get back out there after that because I was like, you're fine. Your knee was swollen so big.
It was like a basketball.
But yeah, that was that. So I know when you're hurt and when you're, but that's about the only time that because I feel like you've been pretty darn prepared and mentally with everything. I mean, in high school when you were hurt, I guess it's been every time you've been hurt that I knew you weren't quite ready and there, you were just coming back or whatever. But I don't think you would have gone out there because you knew your body and you knew all about it. So I knew I felt like you were prepared mostly every time.
Is there something that you would attribute to my mental toughness or my mental readiness towards matches?
I don't know. I'd like to say it's the way I raised you, but I don't
Thank
know.
you.
No, I think, I don't know, your brothers, growing up with your brothers, I think they made you pretty tough too. You made them tough as well, but Kristen was pretty tough on you, but good tough.
Yeah.
And helped you. And I think just the way you guys, all of your mentality about how how you were raised and how you go through sports and do different things. I think all of you are pretty dang tough.
Would there be any advice or suggestions that you would tell a mom that has a daughter that wants to wrestle?
If your daughter wants to wrestle, she needs to get in there and wrestle, because I think it's so great. I think it's really made you tough. I really do. I feel like it has taught you a lot. It's taught you how to perform on your own, and how to, you're just out there and having to do things by yourself, and even if you lose, even if, it's just still really such a good thing for you and for your body and for your mentality. I mean, it's such a mental sport, and I think it really helps deal with lots of things in life, truthfully. I mean, when your brother had his girlfriend passed away and stuff, I really feel like because he was a wrestler, it helped him get through that.
Yeah.
I mean, just the mentality and the mental strength that he had. And I mean, any of you guys have that mental strength, I think.
It's definitely something that the sport gives you, is mental toughness, because you got to be by yourself, but still be on a team.
Right.
And you have to rely on yourself out there. And it's not like you can plan a match out, because everything's reactive. So it's literally just muscle memory. What do you know? What can you do in the blink of an eye when somebody does something to you? So I definitely love that. It taught me a lot about how to react, and mental toughness, and personal strength, and to be an individual. So it definitely helped me grow and be a better person, I think, too, and led me into coaching nowadays. So have you ever got nervous when you watch me coach?
I guess I did this last year watching you and stuff. I thought it was, I really am proud. I really love watching you. And I'm really happy that you can give your knowledge to these other girls too. And even the boys too, the boys you were wrestling or you were coaching as well. And, I just love that they all look up to you and know that you know what you're talking about. And but I have been nervous about, well, gosh, is she too close to the mat? I hope she doesn't get into a fight with that. Like that's the only thing I think of when not that, you don't know what you're doing, that by any means nervous like that, nervous more that
I'm going to pop off.
Yeah, something's going to happen but you've been really good about it. So it's been good.
Good. So watching my journey going from a wrestler to wrestling in college to becoming the women's director to becoming a coach and now a high school coach, what are some of the memories that you like to look back on all those, or what things did you like to see happen along the way?
Well, of course, I liked watching you win. That was always so cool. But just you always supported other people as well, and always, was Matt's side, especially for your brothers. Mm-hmm. Always. I mean, you were the loudest one out there. They could always hear you from the stands. Mm-hmm. I remember there's quite a few of Brett's friends even Billy's friends that had said that they listened for you because they could hear you yell, and then they would do whatever move you told them. So I always think that that's pretty cool. You know, there's quite a few stories that I had to, when you would win or when you would be wrestling and everybody would come around and watch you. And I remember specifically one time when we were at state and you were wrestling, and the whole event center completely shut down basically to watch your match.
Yeah.
It was the neatest thing ever.
That was definitely my favorite
believe it.
memory of wrestling. It was not even a placing match.
No, I think you were going for 4th and 5th.
Was I?
Or, I mean, 3rd
I
and
thought
4th.
it was a blood
3rd.
round and it was to get into a placing match. I don't remember.
I think it was 3rd and 4th.
I was in like 5th grade, 6th grade, something
it was
like
young,
that.
yeah.
And yeah, all of the refs had come over to my mat because we were in like 5 overtimes because the rules were different back then. Every single match had shut down.
But the kid that you were wrestling was so good too.
Yeah.
And he hadn't lost either. And he had, in fact, I think he went on to win like a world championship rodeo something or other. I think it was one of those boys. But yeah, it was crazy. And I just was so proud that even though you were a girl, there were so many people supporting you. And when you won, everybody, the whole event center cheered. And it was
a cool moment. It was a very good feeling just to get your hand raised. I've said that in a couple of my previous podcasts. Like, wrestling's cool because of that feeling. That not a lot of people get to experience that. And that one specifically was probably my absolute favorite of them. So yeah, that was definitely a good memory for sure. So I'm super excited that I get to continue to give my knowledge to people as I continue to coach and stay in those wrestling rooms and stay on that wrestling mat. And I'm excited that we were able to get this state sanctioned.
Yeah.
You were actually with me when I found out the news of getting sanctioned. How did you feel when that happened?
Oh, I just was so proud. So proud. I mean, I know it's not all you, but I feel like you had such a hand in getting that done for the state and for girls. I mean, you've done so much for this sport that I'm really proud mom.
Oh, well, thanks. I appreciate it. So looking towards the future of more girls wrestling and the state getting bigger and bigger, what are you looking forward to seeing in the state of Wyoming?
Well, there's going to be a huge growth of women's wrestling and girls wrestling, and especially since they can wrestle each other instead of wrestle boys. I think there's a lot of parents that don't want to see their daughter wrestle a boy. Mm-hmm. So I think this is huge leaps and bounds, and that it's just going to grow and grow from there.
Awesome. Yeah, I'm excited to see the growth and what's going to happen in the next few years. Even next year, I'm anticipating the high school numbers are going to be a lot more. One, because we have a ton of middle school girls coming in. And then 2, because everybody saw how the season went last year and they saw their friend wrestle and their older sister wrestle, and everybody's recruiting so hard because they had such a good time last year. So I'm excited to see the numbers and the growth in this state. So as we get to a close on this episode of this podcast, is there anything you would like to add or say?
One thing that I think I would like to end with is, if your daughter wants to wrestle, she should. Girls will learn a lot from this, I think, and become better people.
Yeah, I would have to agree with that. Well, thank you so much for being here. Thank you so much for coming and spending some time with me on this podcast. I obviously spend a lot of time with you outside of the podcast, so I'm glad to have you join me here today.
Of course.
It's definitely been a pleasure to have you on the show. And thank you guys all for joining me again this week. Please join me again next week, and I hope everybody has a great day.
I can't accept the loss, I'm hard-headed. There's a little bit of madness to my method. Many falling off that fine line that I'm treading. I risk anything to be great, and I'm not letting nobody rob me of my victory. Number 1, that's what I'm meant to be. When by any means, only thing that makes sense to me, I can make nice or make history.